Welcome to The Newsworthy. I hope you're having a great holiday week, and though you usually get all the day's news in less than 10 minutes from me, today I thought it would be fun to look back at the news from the entire year of 2018. Some of the biggest U.S. stories we covered, the ones that will go down in history, and then just some of the most popular and ones that are a bit more fun. I've got 10 of them for you, so I hope you'll join me for this special episode, a fast, fair, and fun year in review. I'm Erica Mandy. Today is Wednesday, December 26th. You ready? Let's do this. All right, let's kick things off with a pretty recent and history-making news story, the midterm elections. Google says this was the fourth most searched for news story of the year. So we now know the Republicans strengthened their majority in the Senate, while Democrats took over the majority in the House of Representatives, for the first time in 8 years, by the way. There were also historic wins. A record number of women were elected to Congress, and many newly elected officials who made history, like the first two Muslim women ever elected to the House. All the new members of Congress will be sworn in on January 3rd, 2019. And the big question is, will Congress find a way to compromise? Because remember, to pass a law, both the Senate and the House, who will be run by different parties in the new year, have to agree. So stay tuned. Another history-making news story of 2018 was everything surrounding Brett Kavanaugh. He was sworn in as a Supreme Court justice in October, but not without a lot of controversy first, including the hearing to consider Dr. Christine Blasey Ford's testimony. She said Kavanaugh sexually assaulted her when they were in high school. Kavanaugh strongly denied it. It might have been the most contentious Supreme Court nomination in U.S. history, at least so far. President Trump made history as the first U.S. president to meet in person with the leader of North Korea. It happened in Singapore in June. The two talked about denuclearization of the Korean peninsula. Supporters said no other U.S. president has gotten this far in talks with North Korea, and it's a step toward peace. Critics said, wait a minute, Kim Jong-un is a brutal dictator who lies and manipulates. So where does it stand today? Well, USA Today reports President Trump wants and expects to have a second meeting with Kim Jong-un in early 2019. So we'll be talking about this again very soon. And of course, also of note when it comes to President Trump's future, the federal investigations involving him or his team continue. Lots to watch on that front as we head into the new year. And before we get to the fun stuff, we have to acknowledge some of the tragedies of the year, like Mother Nature's disasters in the U.S., California wildfires, one of which was the deadliest in state history. There were also hurricanes, like Hurricane Florence that slammed the Carolinas and Hurricane Michael that hit parts of Florida. AccuWeather says they were two of the most destructive hurricanes in U.S. history. But the Atlantic hurricane season was actually less intense than we saw back in 2017. And even though Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico last year, many people on the island were left without electricity for months this year. And there was also that controversy over the actual death toll from the storm and its aftermath, which reports now say was around 3,000. And there was even a volcano eruption that started in May. Nearly 2,000 people were evacuated. Hawaii's Mount Kilauea volcano erupted, its largest eruption in 200 years. The lava stopped in September, but scientists are still watching it closely. Other tragedies, unfortunately, included shootings, like the one at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, back in February, which was one of the deadliest in U.S. history. It prompted several students there to start the March for Our Lives movement, a call for stricter gun control laws. The world was captivated by this story, the rescue of a youth soccer team trapped in a flooded cave in July. One rescue diver did die, but ultimately the entire youth soccer team and their coach survived. It was an 18-day ordeal. Thailand's Navy SEAL wrote on their Facebook page, quote, "We are not sure if this is a miracle or science or what. All the 13 wild boars are now out of the cave." Wild Boars is the name of the soccer team. Apple became the first U.S. company to hit $1 trillion in market value, as in 12 zeros. It happened in early August. It's not there anymore, though. The top 5 most valuable companies are all in tech, and those tech stocks have taken a dive recently. Think Apple, Amazon, Google's parent company Alphabet, Microsoft, and Facebook. Speaking of Facebook, there was a lot of talk this year about Facebook privacy and the whole Cambridge Analytica debacle that went public in March. CNET calls it the top story of the year in tech, pointing to the exposure of 87 million people's personal data and the start of more questions and scrutiny over privacy in general. Also big in tech, net neutrality, or how it went away this year. The Federal Communications Commission rolled back the laws meant to protect an open and fair internet, though the FCC and critics say it stifles innovation. Wired magazine points out no big changes have happened yet. This will be another one to watch in 2019. Google says this was the most Googled news story, or really the most Googled topic overall, and it was the World Cup. Maybe because nearly half the world's population, 3.4 billion people, tuned in to watch in June and July. Ultimately, France won it all in 2018. The next World Cup is in Qatar in 2022, and this year it was decided that for the first time 3 nations will host the World Cup, the US, Mexico, and Canada, happening in 2026. What about all those history-making jackpots? CBS News says the most viewed story, at least on CBSNews.com in 2018, was about the Mega Millions jackpot, the one that hit $1.5 billion. The winning ticket was sold in South Carolina. The most Googled person of 2018 was Meghan Markle, so we must talk about the royal wedding. Markle and Prince Harry got married back in May. Millions of Americans woke up early to watch the wedding live on TV, and many around the world showed their appreciation for the diversity of this year's royal wedding. Now, of course, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are expecting their first child. Okay, so that was 10 stories, but let's do one more. A popular fun story for you that caused quite a debate. Is it Yanny or Laurel? It was the audio clip that made the rounds in 2018. Some people said it sounded like Yanny, and others were absolutely sure it was Laurel. Experts say it actually depends on where and how you listen to the clip and which frequencies get amplified. All right, that's it for our special year in review, the 2018 edition. Of course, there were many other stories that could have been included on this list, but that's why I'm always keeping you up to date every day, so you're always in the know. And speaking of, I will be back with a regular daily news episode on Friday, but first tomorrow, one more special episode for you that I'm pretty excited about. I hope you love it. And again, Friday, I'll be here catching you up on the news you missed over the Christmas week. And as we look ahead to 2019, I always welcome your thoughts and feedback. Just email us at staff@thenewsworthy.com and tell us what you'd like to see more or less of in the new year. And if you want to read more about any of the stories that we were talking about today, that we looked back on, I've listed links to both past and current news articles about them. Just go to thenewsworthy.com, click episodes, and find today's date. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you are having a wonderful holiday season. Have a great day.